Hi, Kyle.
How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm well. Well, let's jump in this. It's not too long. Sort of a little check in and a congratulations and the compliments about how much I love this record.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I know there's the backstory that seems like everybody wants to hint on, but it's a pretty important part of this because with 4 years between the last record and this one and the reinvention of the sound, I mean, I guess a lot can happen in that time.
Yeah, I mean, life happens. People graduate high school, they finish college, they get married. A lot happens.
Is this at all the same band that it was back then?
I mean, it is the very same band, actually. We're fortunate enough where it has been the same, kind of 3 and 4 core members throughout the whole, tenure of the band, and 2 of them are brothers, and then the other 3 of us, we work really well creatively. So the core is still the very same. But I mean, we've all kind of grown up, which is pretty wild.
It's always taking stock of that and realizing it can throw you for a loop sometimes.
Yeah, but I think that's one of the cool things about sort of the way we create is I think it took us the 4 years to get out of our heads and start creating again the way we did for Can't Talk Medicine, which was not overthinking things and just having a good time and doing it together, and those are the things that made the songs on Lovejoys succeed, is that we just got back to that sort of basic premise. But it took, us ditching a bunch of material and trying a lot of different approaches to writing music before we got there.
Yeah, and that's a big trust fall, and I guess I can say that's having a lot of confidence, in the band and the material that would hopefully arrive at some point. Because I mean, I think some reviewer, was writing you guys up said it best. Like, that's 4 years isn't bad when you're a huge name, but when you're on the up and up, a budding, like that's just enough time for everything to crumble. So, I mean, I don't know, that, again, you must have had some confidence, like, it's going to happen, or I don't know, maybe it's not going to happen at all. Is that the ultimatum?
I think we knew we didn't want to dive back into it with subpar material. I think we knew we couldn't fake it. I mean, we've never been able to fake it. So any of those external pressures about putting out new material quickly, became unimportant. And then I think part of what helped us write better music is when people lost interest and we kind of had this mindset where we're sort of starting over in some weird way. That, pressure lifting and increasing made the whole process doable again.
So when did you know that these were the right songs? Like, was it a specific song or a specific point when you realized, like, now we've got it?
It wasn't like one song sort of announced a turning point. It was more like we were in a new mindset. I mean, after one of the, semi-original members left about a year and a half ago, we just kind of got back to jamming in the basement. And once we'd kind of entered back into that mindset where it wasn't like we need to make pet sounds, it wasn't like, we need to like be, make a garage record and be something we're not. We were able to just sort of get back to the basement, and everybody got out of each other's way. And we all just did what we individually do best, which makes up the collective. And we did that by enjoying playing together again and just focusing on that as opposed to anything that was, more sort of bird's eye view or strategic And so once that mindset, had kind of been reached, the songs came very quickly. I mean, we wrote all those songs, within about a 3-month period, and then within another, I mean, it was stretched over some time, but we spent about 3 weeks recording the record, and then it was all done, So like once we were ready, it went very quickly, but the struggle to get to that place, took a long time.
Yeah. With that said, though, I mean, there is a definite sound, and it is a different sound than the last time. You're not trying to make pet sounds, but are there touchstones for this record? Was that ever the conversation, or is this just what results from you guys jamming at this point?
I mean, there were always touchstones of bands that we'd admired, like, the first Funkadelic record, we think is amazing. I mean, we love like Brazilian Tropicalia, which I think found its way onto Lying Awake in the Dark. And once we started kind of courting producer Eric Blood, he is very fluent in a lot of different touch points. So I think he, challenged us to incorporate some different types of chords than we were comfortable with, and he was really encouraged us to dive into some 70s Stevie Wonder. And kind of with that foundation, as we were just getting to know Eric and not even really talking directly about our songs, through that process, like I fell in love with Marvin Gaye's What's Going On, which I kind of kept at an arm's length, I think because of the saxophone tones or something up until then. But I did have a prejudice against sort of 70s soul for some reason. But, the combination of Stevie Wonder, which I was obviously familiar with, but sort of taking a closer look at, and then some of the other touch points that Eric gave us, like Roy Ayers, the jazz. So I got kind of into that record for a while, and it just kind of expanded my palette a little bit. And then after that, the transition came pretty quickly, where it was like, I think we'd been writing more of maybe a garagey, like in the tradition of the Sonics, where we were trying to like continue that sort of tradition. It flipped a switch where I was like, well, I think we can do, punk and disco if the song needs it. So, let's just open that up and just see where it takes us.
It's a great marriage right there.
Yeah.
I was thinking in the 70s soul, thank goodness it wasn't 80s soul, because that's where it does get sort of bad. That's a bad decade for soul music. It's not the best.
Yeah, well, we can save that for the next record, I guess.
Bringing out the guitar. That's what you guys will be doing.
Yep.
And I also liked, the approach you took on the lyrics, with the mumble singing and waiting for, the subconscious to come up. But I was also thinking, like, Rusted Root did that, and that's how we got Send Me On My Way. So you could have had that instead. Yeah, right. But
yeah. No, I mean, I was always intent on sort of forming the words a little bit better, but I don't know. Our manager was telling us yesterday that that's kind of the way that early REM was, where he had like hard consonant sounds, but nothing else, and he kind of built things based on that. So. It's a broad technique, but it was scary to open myself up to, like kind of genuine fears and emotions coming out in the songs so like immediately,
Have you are you still deciphering what these songs might be about because of that?
Yeah, in kind of an interesting way, yes. It's almost like some of the lyrics like have become prophetic in weird ways, and so it was like, what my subconscious knew then, I don't know, is sort of materializing in different ways, and I was able to put words to, anxieties that I think I could describe better now that I think were more a mystery to me then,
I like how that works out too, and watching the artists kind of form their definition of their own songs over a long period of time. It's our way into your psyche, I guess, which it's more fun than getting into our own psyche. So it's
well, I bet your psyche's pretty interesting too.
I sit and do this all day long, so it's just about asking people questions. It does make for a great record. I'll also point out, on the less sexy side of the music business, I do see that, just judging from the Twitter feed, that you're watching the same stuff we're all watching with the news and everything, but it seems to be that insurance is really high on your mind, which would make sense as a young touring artist. How easy is it for you to survive right now in this present state?
I mean, it's not easy at all. It's very uncertain, and the pressures are kind of mounting, where we have this creative center in Seattle, and we have this artistic community that we've, grown up with, and, get inspired by other bands that we love here. And everybody's feeling a similar pressure where, none of us graduated college and were able to start making six figures so we could afford to live in a crazy metropolitan area. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just different. It's becoming this crazy West Coast city, and I'm really worried about all my artist friends and all the bands that we've grown up with, and I mean it's very uncertain, but I'm fortunate where I have a family and, they keep me grounded. Just for example, they went down on a family vacation a couple days early, and all that I did was I sat in my room and sharpened knives. So, my family keeps me grounded. So I'm fortunate in that way, but where the art is not the only thing that I live and die by, but it is definitely, the sort of, I don't know, it's the pursuit that I know best, and it's kind of where I've invested my time and energy. And so, I don't want to just hang up shop. I want to give it a fair shot and keep making records in whatever capacity we can afford to. And I hope that includes continuing to tour and getting to release records, but I don't know. I'm not naive, I'm not charmed. I'm just doing, we're just doing like what we can do.
Yeah. Lucky for us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the honest part of it, because, it's, I do love the record, and I loved everything you guys have done in the past. So it's, I know it's hard out there, and I do talk to a lot of folks and just kind of hear about it. And
but at the same time, I mean, I get to share this music all over the country and do something I love. And, I don't know. I'm never going to become a banker. I don't have that capacity, but I don't have any regrets, whatever happens. Yeah.
Well, best of luck to you on this album's run and everything. Like I said, it's a great sound. So if it takes you guys another 4 years to do something awesome like this, we'll still listen. It's as long as it's good. It's
well, I appreciate it and look forward to coming out to Louisville.
Come on, man, we're here.
All right, take care. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
Yep.